Hello and welcome to the Luxury Guy, your online guide to luxury goods. In this series of clips here, I hope to show some of the telltale signs in determining whether an item is fake or whether it is genuine. I have collected, dealt in Louis Vuitton and admired Louis Vuitton for over 15 years. During that time, I've seen a lot of real pieces and a lot of fake pieces. I've put together a 5-point plan in determining whether an item is real or whether it is fake. The first thing that any person should do when buying a piece is to see if the actual item does exist. By consulting a Louis Vuitton catalogue, you can work out whether the item is an actual item. Often what happens is, with fake items, they're a mix match of a couple of Louis Vuitton styles and items combined into one item. So the piece doesn't actually exist. By consulting a Louis Vuitton booklet, you can work out whether the item is real in the design and structure of the item. The Louis Vuitton booklet also will give you approximate dimensions of the item. Now just be aware that some items that you may be buying may not be in the latest Louis Vuitton catalogue because the item might be a discontinued piece. I have a reference library going back many years covering many catalogues. It's always worth keeping that in mind. If you're looking at a used piece, say the piece is 5 years old, obviously you'd need to look in a catalogue that was also 5 years old. Many pieces are design classics and Louis Vuitton keeps them going for a long series of time. However, some pieces are fashion pieces which have a shorter production run. The second point in determining whether an item is real or not is the brassware itself. Most Louis Vuitton items use brass. Some pieces are having a silver coloured brassware, but most pieces that a person will be looking at would have brassware on them. Now, the secret here is to look at the brassware and compare it to other Louis Vuitton items. Louis Vuitton has standardized the brassware on most pieces, so the way a clip or a lock or a zip appears on one piece is often the same style that they use for other pieces in their range. A lot of the fakes don't have this attention to detail and have a rather crude zip or a crude brassware. So by looking at that closely, you can determine whether it feels right. The third point in the process is to have a look at the stamps and stamping on the piece. Louis Vuitton pays exceptional attention to detail to their stamping and marks on their bag. All the stamping on a Louis Vuitton item should be in accordance with a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 item. Many of the fakes are poorly stamped. Now, even when an item has had a bit of wear, the stamp should still be in very good condition. The other telltale sign is the Louis Vuitton date stamp. Now this is a batch code that is put onto Louis Vuitton pieces. It's something that most people can't interpret because it's not like a normal date stamp. It's an encoded format. There is actually guides you can get to work out those codes. However, the stamping itself on these date codes should be precise. A lot of the fakes, now this is the key thing, many of the fakes also have date stamps on them because they realize customers are looking for these date stamps to verify the item is real or not. So just be aware of these date stamps there. Now, with the date stamps themselves, I have even had a few genuine pieces which have not had a date stamp. And this is actually quite correct. Some occasional pieces don't have a stamp. Occasionally when an item is returned to Louis Vuitton for repair, when they repair the item, they won't actually put a date stamp back onto the item. So just be aware of that when you are looking at a piece. The fourth step in my plan is to handle some real Louis Vuitton pieces. Nothing beats a bit of experience. If you have the means to go to a Louis Vuitton store, go in there, be polite, just ask if you can have a browse around, have a look at the pieces, feel the pieces, touch the pieces, see how they handle, see how they look inside, look at the stitching, look at all the little details. After you get used to seeing what genuine Louis Vuitton pieces looks like, it becomes a lot easier when looking at a fake item to work out whether it is in fact real or fake. The fifth and final point when you are determining whether an item is fake or whether it's real is to look at the stitches itself. Louis Vuitton uses a set number of stitches for each piece. For example, on an Alma handbag, where the handles join the monogram sides of the bag, the number of stitches is a set number of stitches. So if you compare one part to the other three parts on the bag, this number of stitches should be the same. Often with fakes, the stitching is of an inferior quality because they're trying to churn these items out. On the genuine item, a lot of care has gone into the stitches. I hope this guide's been helpful. I hope you've found it informative, and I hope you are a more informed consumer. Please, if you have any questions, email me, and I'm only too happy to respond. Thank you very much.